We've all been there, haven't we? That moment you realize the street signs are just a little bit fuzzy.
Oh, definitely. Or maybe the text on your phone isn't quite as sharp as it used to be.
Right. And for us as adults, it's usually, just a trip to the optometrist. New glasses, maybe?
Simple fix, usually.
But what if that same blurry vision, especially if you see it in your child, wasn't just about needing glasses?
What if it was a sign?
Exactly. An early warning sign of something, well, much more significant. A medical condition that's actually progressing.
And could really impact their health long term.
That's the powerful truth we're digging into today. We're talking about childhood myopia, nearsightedness, and a really advanced way to manage it.
A new approach.
Yeah, and our deep dive today comes from this really comprehensive guide. It's by Paul Joseph, also known as Rakesh, who's an expert in the optical industry.
Okay.
And his guide focuses specifically on Essilor Stellest lenses and why they're becoming so relevant for parents, especially somewhere like India, where this is a growing issue.
Right. So our mission here is to really break down the key takeaways from this guide for you. We want you to understand why myopia is such a big concern now.
Yeah, why the fuss?
Exactly. And how modern science is trying to tackle it, and importantly, what factors you should think about to make a really informed decision for your child's eye health.
Okay, let's unpack this. That idea of an informed decision feels so important, especially when you see how fast this problem is growing.
It really is.
I mean, the numbers in our source material really jumped out at me. Can you walk us through this alarming rise, particularly in India? What's driving it?
Yeah, it's quite startling, actually. The stats show that myopia in kids in India has just surged dramatically. It was about 4.4% back in 1999. Today, over 21%.
Wow, that's more than 4 times, nearly 5 times higher.
In a pretty short space of time. And the source links this directly to, well, modern life, changes in lifestyle.
Like what specifically?
Kids spending much less time playing outside and way more time doing near work, reading, homework, and especially looking at screens.
Okay, that makes intuitive sense. But is it just about tired eyes?
Well, what's fascinating here is it seems to be more biological than that. The theory suggests outdoor light itself, its brightness, its spectrum, might help regulate how the eye grows.
Huh, really?
Yeah, by influencing specific cells in the retina. And then the flip side is lots of close-up focus without enough outdoor time seems to send a signal telling the eye it needs to grow longer to compensate.
So the eye itself is changing shape because of these environmental factors.
That's the idea. It leads to what's called axial elongation. The eyeball literally gets too long.
Which really underlines your point. This isn't just needing a stronger prescription.
Exactly. Myopia is fundamentally a medical condition. That excessive growth, that axial elongation, it stretches and thins out the important structures inside the eye.
Okay, and that leads to?
That significantly boosts a child's lifetime risk of really serious sight-threatening diseases down the road.
Serious how?
We're talking myopic maculopathy, damage to the central retina, retinal detachment where the retina actually pulls away, glaucoma, even cataracts, but earlier in life.
Goodness. Those aren't minor issues. They could really affect someone's vision permanently.
Absolutely. It affects quality of life long term.
This really paints a picture of a massive shift in how we should think about eye care for kids. The old way was just
give them glasses to see better.
Right. Correct, the blurry vision. But the source is clear that it's now seen as outdated if the child's myopia is getting worse.
Because standard glasses only fix the symptom, the blurriness. They don't do anything about the underlying problem, the eye continuing to grow too long.
So modern eye care is shifting focus. It's now about actively managing that growth, slowing it down.
Precisely. Proactive management to slow the progression.
Okay, that's a huge shift. So if the old way is outdated, the big question is, how do these newer advanced lenses actually work?
Right. How do they slow down that eye growth?
Yeah. What's the science behind something like Essilor Stellest? Here's where it gets really interesting.
It is pretty ingenious, actually. Stellest lenses use what they call a dual action design. It's powered by something called HALT technology.
HALT.
Stands for Highly Aspherical Lenslet Target. That's the core technology.
Okay, break that down. Dual action means?
It means the lens has 2 key zones working together. First, there's a clear central zone. That part works just like a normal lens gives the child sharp, clear distance vision.
So they can see the board at school, no problem.
Exactly. But then surrounding that central zone, that's where the innovation is. It's the myopia control zone.
And what's in that zone?
It's described as a constellation of tiny, invisible microlenses, 1,021 of them, actually, and they're aspherical.
Aspherical meaning not perfectly curved.
Right. That specific shape lets these tiny lenslets manipulate light in a very particular way. They create a unique optical signal, kind of like a shell of light, just in front of the retina.
Okay, and what does that signal do biologically?
That optical signal acts like a constant biological cue for the eye. Think of it like a stop sign or maybe a slow down sign.
For the eye growth.
Exactly. It continuously signals the eye to slow down that excessive elongation, encouraging it to grow at a more normal, healthier rate. So it's not just fixing the focus, it's actually influencing the eye's physical development.
That's fascinating. And practically, are these lenses okay for active kids? Are they delicate?
No, they're designed for kids' lives. They're made from polycarbonate, which is very impact resistant.
Okay, durable.
Yeah, and you can get them with tough coatings, even sunglass tints. The idea is the treatment is working constantly, even when they're playing outside in the sun. Continuous passive treatment.
It sounds incredibly promising on paper. But, the real proof is always in the pudding, the clinical trials.
Right. Does it actually work?
Yeah. Our sources mention rigorous trials. What do they tell us about how effective Stellest lenses are in the real world? And is there one key factor for success?
The clinical data is definitely compelling. The trials show significant effectiveness, yes. But the most critical factor, the absolute key, compliance.
Meaning the child actually has to wear them.
Consistently. For at least 12 hours a day. That's the benchmark they found.
Okay, so assuming a child is wearing them for 12 plus hours a day,
Right.
what results did they see?
For those kids, myopia progression, how quickly their prescription got worse, was slowed down by an average of 67%.
57%, that's huge.
It is. And axial elongation, that physical lengthening of the eyeball we talked about, was slowed by 60%. That's compared to kids wearing standard single-vision lenses.
So it directly addressed the underlying growth.
Yes. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, there was a longer 5-year study, too.
Oh, good. What did that show?
It confirmed the effect lasted over time, which is crucial. And maybe even more importantly, it showed the chances of developing high myopia that's a prescription of negative 6.00 or worse.
Which carries those higher risks we discussed earlier.
Exactly. The incidence of high myopia was cut by about 76% in the kids wearing Stellest lenses consistently. That's a massive potential benefit for preventing severe vision problems later on.
That really is significant. And what about kids getting used to them? Parents often worry about that with new glasses.
That's a valid concern, but the adaptation stats are actually really positive.
Oh, yeah.
The source says the vast majority, 90% of kids, adapt within just 3 days.
3 days, wow.
And apparently 100% adapt within 1 week, which suggests that even though the tech is advanced, the visual experience must be quite comfortable for most children.
That's fantastic news for parents considering this.
Yeah.
But is it always successful? Does it work equally well for every child?
And this raises an important question about realistic expectations.
Right.
While the overall data is strong and many parents see great results, individual outcomes can vary. It's important to know that some children might just be less responsive to this specific treatment.
Okay, so it's not a guaranteed fix for everyone?
Yeah. No. It really highlights why regular checkups are so vital. The eye care professional needs to monitor how things are going and, maybe adjust the plan if needed. It's not one size fits all.
That variability is such a key piece of information for parents. So what does this all mean for you, the listener, if you're maybe thinking about this for your child? What are the practical steps?
I think the number one takeaway is that this decision must be made with an expert.
Not just based on, say, this deep dive.
Absolutely not. You need to talk to a qualified pediatric ophthalmologist or an optometrist who really specializes in myopia management. They're the ones who can assess your child's specific situation.
And what will they do? What are those critical steps?
Well, first, they need to confirm that it is progressive myopia, that the nearsightedness is actively getting worse.
Okay, confirm the diagnosis.
Then, and this is really important for tracking success, they'll measure the eye's axial length, get that baseline measurement.
So they can see if the lenses are actually slowing the growth over time.
Exactly. And finally, they have to make sure the glasses frames fit perfectly. The centering of these special lenses is absolutely critical for the HELT technology to work properly. The lenslets need to be in just the right place relative to the child's eye.
Right. It sounds like it needs precision fitting. It really feels like a partnership than parent, child, and the eye care professional.
It really is.
And it's also crucial, isn't it, to understand this is a long-term thing. It's not a quick fix.
Definitely. Myopia management requires regular monitoring, regular follow-ups to track how effective the treatment is and make sure the child gets the best possible vision long term.
And of course, as our source material clearly states, and we need to reiterate,
Hmm.
this information is educational. It's not medical advice. Always consult a qualified professional for your child's health.
Couldn't agree more.
So today we've really dived deep into this growing challenge of childhood myopia. We looked at the serious implications that go way beyond just needing glasses.
Yeah, the long-term risks.
And we explored this innovative approach, Essilor Stellest lenses, as a modern evidence-backed tool for actually managing the progression.
And maybe a final thought for you to consider. Think about how this kind of proactive management in childhood really represents a bigger shift in healthcare.
A shift how?
Well, we're moving beyond just treating symptoms as they appear. With things like myopia control, we're trying to actively safeguard long-term health and quality of life right from childhood. It's a more fundamental approach to wellness over a lifetime.
That's a really powerful point. It definitely encourages all of us to think about how vital early intervention and truly informed decisions are for our kids' health, especially as these incredible new technologies keep emerging, offering possibilities we just didn't have before.